This week, we're going to talk about the Norsemen. And, I guess PC, I should say the North people or the Norse people. And bear in mind, back in the day when the Norse were raiding all over the known world and some of the not known world, they wouldn't have called themselves Vikings. Viking is a word that came much later. We don't realize, I don't think, just how terrified the ancients were of the Vikings, and I'm going to call them Vikings just because that is what most of us know them by. They were the people of the ancient world were terrified. The Vikings went everywhere, and where they went, they fought and they conquered. They went to Athens. They went to North America. And they were the berserkers, and they would go into battle frothing at the mouth. And of course now, the most popular theory about the berserkers were that they ingested ergot, which is a mold on rye, which gave them, their intensity and their ferocity. But nevertheless, they were intense and they were ferocious. Now they did other things. For example, they founded the city of Dublin in Ireland. And there is absolutely no doubt that those of us who are of Irish and Scottish and English descent probably have a little bit of Viking blood running in us. And so the Vikings, we're going to look at their myth. Well, this is a mythology class after all. And examine it again from archetypal point of view. And you will see, I am sure, that the archetypes continue. Now the thing is about the Viking myths, Christians wrote them down. Most of what we have comes from the two Eddas, which I discuss in the PowerPoint. And Snorri Sturluson, and you gotta love a guy whose name is Snorri, was definitely a Christian. And I think that he Christianized some of the aspects. He also said that the Aesir, the main gods of the Norse, came from Troy. Go figure. I think that was an adaptation of some other classical writings that perhaps he was able to get his hands on over in Iceland. The archetypes continue. One of the strongest archetypes that I see in Norse myth that it shares with Greek myth are the Norns. They are the three goddesses of fate. Now in some stories there's more than three. Usually there's three. I discuss them in the PowerPoint. And they're spinners, like the Fates are in Greek myth, and they decide the Veerd, or the destiny, fate of every human on earth. The Veerd is from, we get the word weird from the Veerd, and when Shakespeare in Macbeth writes about the Weird sisters, he's not saying they're strange. He's saying they were the Norns who were concocting Macbeth and Duncan's fate and all of the rest of those people. Other archetypes that continue are the underworld. And there is a dog, Garm, who is connected with the underworld that goes all the way back to Egypt. There's some differences, though. The earth is composed of Ymir, the frost giant's body, which is different from what we have seen before, where the earth is usually the body of a goddess. But again, the underworld of the Norse is female. It's Hel. Other archetypal things that get a little bit of a change. The moon is male, and the sun is female, which is the only instance that I can think of where the sun is feminine instead of masculine. So there are some switches from those archetypes that we have been following all along. They evolve. One of the most overwhelming themes in Norse myth is that of fate, as we've seen very strongly in Greek, and we've also seen in Sumeria with Gilgamesh not being able to find mortality, and Egypt as well. The dying and resurrected god is a little different in Norse myth. Balder dies. In a traditional myth, he does not resurrect, but later myth does have him resurrecting. So there's a change to that as well, as I also discuss in the PowerPoints. There is no doubt that Norse were syncretic and that they merged older myths with newer myths. We see this in the lay of the 9 twigs of Woden. The Anglo-Saxons who came into England after the Romans left and routed what was left of the Celts, their Anglo-Saxon is very close to the Old Norse language, and they practiced both. They intermarried their Christianity with their Norse beliefs. So those pagan attributes held on for a long, long time. I want you to examine Norse myth, the hero's journey in Siegfried, and I want to know what you think about it.